What's going on there, folks? Good evening. It is the Earthmaster back here on this Monday night. No, it's Tuesday night. I was going to say Monday, September 12th, 2023. It is about 10:33 p.m. California time here along the west coast of the United States. And the latest activity looks like a 1.9 in Alaska and also a 2.1 kicking up down there into the California area. Let's go ahead and zoom in here to Southern California, see what we got popping out here outside of the area of Borrego Springs. Looks like 2.1 and also some smaller earthquake activity occurring off of the San Jacinto Fault Zone. A slight uptick here across the area. It has been awfully quiet in the past couple days here, reasonably speaking here for the most part. Down here across the Elsinore fault system, a couple smaller quakes down here as well. San Diego has been an area that has not seen seismic activity for quite a while. 2.0 coming in there earlier this morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning or so. And that does sit well off of the plate boundary. The San Andreas fault obviously sits over here. And there is numerous fault systems that run up against the San Diego fault zone. So they are not out of the, and there's a couple trough zones out here as well, some thrust zones that could be some large damaging future earthquakes for the San Diego area. So they are not out of the hazard zone, so to speak. Further up north into the Morgan Hill area, this is going to be the Calaveras. Looks like it's on the Calaveras fault zone or the Hayward fault. Calaveras fault zone, the southern edge. A little bit of activity stirring up there about 1 o'clock this morning. Right now we got a 2.3 coming into Bernie area. This area did see, well, it's seen some earthquake activity around the 5.0 range here in the last week or so. Let me bring up the all magnitudes here. Yeah, that 5.0 coming in here just outside of the Bernie area. Few days ago, I did not feel that earthquake as I sit down here in the Sacramento Valley. We also see a little bit of other earthquake activity here with a total tally of 33 earthquakes. So this earthquake occurring at about 7.3 kilometers deep, well outside of the area of interest here. Notice that dropping off here. A way to check this, see if this is a legit earthquake or if it has been reviewed or not, is by clicking on the earthquake and checking out the review status, which it sits at in automatic. So these are all basically preliminary earthquake reports here. These are all the stations pretty much guessing what the magnitude of this earthquake is and the locations out here as far as the channels go. And most of them looks like it is reporting or are reporting right around a 2.0 or so. So this could get reviewed, it could get downgraded, it could get upgraded. I don't think it's going to be upgraded or not. I really don't think so. Just looking at these magnitudes out there. So either way, a little bit of activity stirring up out here in Northern California with the earthquake activity out here across Bernie. Now, this is probably going to get repositioned out here further to the earthquake swarming area along these fault zones here. Now, I'll be surprised if this earthquake activity stays out here along this segment of the fault system. We'll continue to watch that, though. All right, into the Pacific Northwest. Spotty activity through Mount Rainier and also through Mount St. Helens. Mount St. Helens, you know, it's been quite the ordeal here over the past 30 days, right? So we're talking about 139 earthquakes or so around the Mount St. Helens area. The largest is going to be a 2.4. Now, I really honestly don't think that they are reporting all the magnitudes out here. I've checked out the seismograph stations myself, and it shows a lot more. We could probably triple or if not quadruple this magnitude or multitude of earthquakes out here that has been happening around the Mount St. Helens area. But it's also been somewhat elevated up here around Mount Rainier. Not quite as intense, We're looking at about 37 epicenters around Mount Rainier, but we've noticed a little separate swarming out here southwest of the volcano. So things have been, I would say they're somewhat above background levels here at the Mount St. Helens area. Let's go ahead and check out the latest informational statement here. According to our proper government agencies that we pay them quite well, that is going to be the USGS out here, Mount St. Helens. We're going to check this out here and see what we got, right? I really wish a lot of these stations were operable, in operation, but they're not. I mean, as far as the gas stations and whatnot go, yes, they are. We have noticed a little bit of uptick here in the last couple days here across the area of the vent, so to speak. This is the vent temperature at the volcano. Notice that spike here in the temperature reading. That's a little obvious there on the graph, and that has happened over the past day or so. Looking back the past month, well, it doesn't look like that. So it looks like we're looking at a little bit of elevated conditions up there, specifically out here at the vent of Mount St. Helens. And I've seen this earthquake activity popping up here. Some of these look like they may be deeper into the area of the Mount St. Helens region. This is a seismograph station position up there around that vent area. And, I would say, looking at these graphs here, according to the seismograph station SEP that is positioned at the Mount St. Helens area, that there's definitely some earthquake activity continuing out there, right? Whether it's large scale or not, I don't think it's large scale. Let's go ahead and check out the seismograph station a little bit further south, right? If that was large scale activity, we would be seeing that across the station as well. But there is some earthquake activity popping up here across the station. It's a little bit south of the vent area. So we know that some of the activity is showing up here. Some of these seismograph stations are picking up on what looks like some smaller signatures. So obviously it's legit earthquake activity that's occurring somewhere underneath this area. Now, I don't know how far deep it is, how far away from this. Obviously, it's underneath this area. That's the review I get from looking at these seismograph stations here. So something's going on well underneath this area, and I just have to go with what I'm viewing on these seismograph stations. Again, the vent temperature has raised up in the last day or so. Notice that spike here. Degree in what's the word? I'm lost here for words. Fahrenheit, right? That's not Fahrenheit. So these are hotter temperatures, so to speak. It's been a long day. I've had to write several essays, so to speak, here for my class. And my brain's a little bit Celsius. There we go. Dude, I was completely had a blackout right there. I couldn't think of the C word. I was thinking of something else, but yes, Celsius, degrees Celsius. Oh my gosh. Sometimes that happens, right? Sometimes we get a little bit tangled up, or at least lost for words. But we know what we're talking about. But I don't know. It happens. Celsius. So we're looking at well above 140 degrees Celsius here for the vent temperature. So that's quite an increase out here. There was a little dip back in early September, it looks like. But, these are charts out here. Let me show you guys the rest of the charts here and see what we got. Wind direction, SO2. Carbon dioxide looks pretty minimal for the most part across the graphs. Looks pretty neutral. I don't know why I keep closing that. Today's Monday, right? No, I'm just kidding. It's Tuesday, but it feels like a Monday. hydrogen sulfide, right? That's obviously a sign of volcanic activity. It's all over the place here. No major uptick, but, you know, I don't know. We got a pretty good uptick here across the vent temperature. Obviously, we'll continue to watch that and see what happens. I've asked a couple people about it, and they seem to think that everything's just hunky-dory up there. But we'll continue to watch Mount St. Helens. They do have a regular occurrence interval of volcanic activity about 100 to 300 years. So obviously the last earthquake, or at least the eruption, was back in 1980, right? Pretty good. We're obviously not 100 years, right? I would hope not. 2080, I would probably not be here. I don't even want to look at the 2080 number. That's a little scary. So Mount St. Helens, but you know, the regular interval of reoccurrence activity is around 100 to 300 years. So, and that's for Mount St. Helens. Cascadia subduction zone. Maybe we're living in a time right now where we are going to experience a 9.0 out here. Maybe it's our time to experience the great mega quake out here across the what do we got here? That was earlier today. It looks like 3.3. Maybe it's our time to experience some mega quake activity out here. You know, we're all living our daily lives and going to work. Maybe not going to work. Maybe just staying home playing video games, which is okay too. I play video games plenty of times. I have no issues with video games. In fact, I'm a big-time Call of Duty fan. So, but history speaking, right? There's a lot that has gone on in humankind history out here. 1776, you know, the United States. But we don't think about geology-wise here. There's regular, or at least regular occurrence intervals here of geology speaking. We're talking about the Cascadia subduction zone. We're talking about the Hikurangi subduction zone. We're talking about the San Andreas fault down here, the southern branch, that has not seen any major release in pressure in well over 300 years. So we may be coming up into a time right now where those are going to be coming up in the news. Very possible. So it's important to stay alert and stay aware of what's going on out there across the plates. Certain areas that have not seen any major earthquake activity in a while is long overdue, right? The southern branch of the San Andreas Fault, that's just a given. I heard that back when I was a kid. My parents said that California was going to drop off into the ocean with the big one, but that's not technically capable. This is not a subduction zone here in Southern California. This is a transform fault, right lateral slip strike, and these plates here rub up against each other and create strain. There's no way possible that California would ever go off into the ocean. There's no subduction zone out here. One area that will drop in elevation, unfortunately, is the folks out here across the Pacific Northwest. This area will drop drastically once the Cascadia subduction zone readjusts. This area has been rising pretty nicely since about 1700 or so, since the last mega earthquake out here. And that spring that's been wound up along the Cascadia will release pressure in a great earthquake and a great tsunami while this land drops out here across the Pacific Northwest. That's a given. That's not a fairy tale. That's not a possibility. That's not a theory. That is a fact with this activity out here once a big one hits. So, and there's many areas that are long overdue, right? If you really think about it, we could go on all night and the possibilities for large earthquakes that may be overdue. So we're just kind of living in times right now where it's kind of quiet for us humans here. At least in the California area. 2.7 out in Texas. Just coming in within the last hour outside of Pecos, Texas area. Let's go ahead and check out Yellowstone, right? Yellowstone, right? That's another super volcano. Whether we will see that pop off in our lifetime? Well, I don't think so, but I guarantee you that we would see large earthquake activity popping up beforehand. We're not talking about a microquake swarm, which we see on occasion. No, we've seen throughout the years I've studied Yellowstone, and I got big into it back in 2008. Let me see if I can pull up 2008 back in December. I think it was sometime end of December. Let me double check here. See if I can generate this report. There was a pretty, look at that. There we go. So back in 2008, December 27th, I think that was the time frame this huge earthquake swarm popped up here. Look at this. Imagine if you guys seen that right now at Yellowstone, you would think that things are going to blow up, right? The super volcano is going to pop. And a lot of people, I'm not going to mention some channel names, but there were some big time channel names that fear-mongered this. I think YouTube shut them down. I don't even know. Maybe the FBI investigated them because these folks were telling people to evacuate the area of Yellowstone. A lot of people got into trouble for that fear-mongering out here. Now, it looks pretty fancy. This is a big-time earthquake swarm out here. 3s, and I think we even seen some 4s out here in Yellowstone. But since then and prior, we have seen repetitive earthquake activity here at Yellowstone National Park. This did not obviously blow up back in 2008. I can't believe it's been that long already. And this lasted for a couple days. Let me show you 2000. Let's go to the 28 time period. This is the next day here. You can see some of the larger earthquakes, but look at this. I mean, look at that. There's probably over 1,000 earthquakes here on this graph alone. I'm not even joking. If you count all of these smaller quakes. So it's a big time earthquake swarm, and it was centered roughly around the Yellowstone Lake area. There was a lot of people fear-mongering that the volcano was about ready to blow, and that the lake water would interact with the magma, and it would create a hyper explosion, and it would devastate the United States. There were so many people fear-mongering it. And again, look it up for yourself. You're kind of curious to see who it was. I think you guys may know. But yeah, obviously it did not blow. There was slight inflation out here across this given time period. There was an area of inflation, right? So a lot of people were concerned about that as well. Inflation, earthquake activity, it got everyone fired up, but nothing popped off. The 30th time period, this lasted probably for, I'm thinking a good 2 weeks or so. This is on the 30th. But I watched this day in, day out. I was watching literally, let me get off of here real quick. That I didn't mean to open that. I was watching this Yellowstone station right here, Lake Yellowstone. That's the same one I pulled up back then. I was watching this 24/7. When I laid down to sleep at night, I had my laptop watching this seismograph station. I was so in tune with it. And I was hesitant about this thing blowing because these are very small. If you really think about it in terms of a super volcano, 3s and 4s, that's technically very small. And the inflation out here was very minimal in terms of a super volcano. We would be talking about inches upon inches of inflation out here, maybe feet before this thing blows. And this was only a very small amount of inflation. And we could check back on that at a later time. You guys are welcome to during this time period. But I was very hesitant. I took what some of those YouTubers were saying with a grain of sand. And man, did they fearmonger it. They went off on it like you would not believe. And they got millions of views. But I think YouTube caught up with them and probably demonetized them. And who knows, put them on a community strike. Because earthquake activity out here across the super volcano, it's obviously of some interest, right? But there's nothing major going on. Even back in 2008, when this kicked off here in December. Let me check out December 31st here and see what we got. Generate report. This is the next day. Some of these, again, were 3s and 4s. And look at that. Man, that is just crazy amount of earthquake activity. And, you know, obviously it was being watched across the USGS network and across the world, and YouTubers and whatnot. So, but nothing happened. And I think in order for something to happen out here, we would see this thing light up with some huge earthquakes. We would see humongous ground swelling. We're talking about tilt meters beyond what we seen back in 2008. And we're talking about maybe 4s and 5s, 6s earthquakes out here around the caldera before this thing popped off. Was it a little bit scary? You know, if you didn't know the information, if you didn't know about this, obviously. But this is when I started getting into the Yellowstone study. And I kind of pointed out there on my YouTube channel back in the day how I don't believe that this is actually anything to worry about. Obviously, it's a swarm, but it's not anything that would be considered a prelude to a super eruption. We have seen earthquake activity in swarm fashion since then. I don't think, honestly, I don't think we've seen anything drastically as this since the 2008 activity. I just want to check January 1st here and generate this report. Honestly, I can't remember how long it continued, but obviously you guys can see here on the graph, things continued. They continued for I think 2 weeks, and it was a big time newsmaker, and you can make a lot of views off of this, right? If you fearmonger this, and that's why YouTube's cracking down on stuff like that. I don't like to fearmonger at all. I'm not a fearmonger channel. It's always been that way. I don't do it. I refuse. When there's an earthquake swarm, you bet I'm going to produce that out on the channel, but that does not mean I'm fearmongering. Fearmongering is telling everyone to get out of view, get out of here, get out of there right now. Wyoming, Montana, Kansas, wherever you're at, 1,000 miles out here, evacuate, right? That's what somebody did. And I think the FBI or the CIA, I don't know who, paid that guy a visit. Look it up for yourself. I'm not going to mention anybody on here, but you'll be surprised who it is. Maybe you won't. All right, so earthquake activity again right now, back into the real time here in 2023. I can't believe it's been that long. Oh my gosh, I don't like time flying by. I'm not a big fan of getting older. Things much calmer out here. Much calmer. All right, so let's see what else we got here. I kind of got off center there with that little bit of reporting, but it just, that's what it is. It's a live show, and that's kind of what I do here. I just report live data, and whatever comes up comes up. It's not a skit. It's not a show. Basically, what I'm stating out here is whatever pops up in my mind. Sometimes it can be pretty crazy. All right, 2.7 within the last hour or so outside of Pecos, Texas. We all know what's out there. That's the oil fields kicking out there outside of Pecos, Texas. Don't believe me? Well, okay, let's go ahead and zoom in to satellite view. I don't like to view in every single time, but there's a big solar farm out here too. But if you look out within miles here, literally within miles of the solar farm, there's huge wastewater disposal facilities and injection facilities out here with oil pumping operations out there. And that's a huge deal. I still have yet to visit this specific area. I was out in Texas earlier, figuring out what's going on out there in the Permian Basin. Huge oil fields, major money being made out there. I mean, there's a lot of oil rights out there that people are jumping in on, and there's so much oil out there, and a lot of money, right? People chiming in on that. All right, let's see what we got down in Southern California. There's that activity I discussed here earlier on the update video. The latest earthquake at 1.1, a little bit further up along the San Jacinto fault zone. One earthquake down here across the Java Trench at Java Sea area. This one is a super deep earthquake. We're talking super. Almost, look at that. I'm kind of curious to see if it even showed up here on the Earthquake 3D globe. Goodness. There it is. That is a deep one. 647 kilometers deep there, guys. Across the Java Sea. Watch this area upstream. I think something's building up here. This area has been it has been quiet for the most part. Obviously, there's 4s and 5s and earthquake activity that's taking place here across the Java Trench, but we've seen a lot of deeper movement here across this area of the Java Sea. The subduction zone here, very capable of producing some mega quakes. So watch that area. Sumatra, obviously, we remember that. Back in 2006, I don't remember exactly when, had a pretty large earthquake out there along the Java Trench area. So watch that pretty closely. Again, New Zealand, not a whole lot popping up there. Let me see what else we got on the earthquake 3D globe. The Mediterranean area is pretty quiet. Got a pretty good swarm of activity. I've seen this earthquake activity coming in on my phone near the Jan Mayen area. This is a plate boundary north of Iceland. USGS is picking up on this earthquake activity as well. This is a divergent boundary, unless there's some volcanic activity stirring up out there. It's occurring near the Jan Mayen Island region. Again, off of the plate boundary, you got Jan Mayen area out here. Volcano is very possible, but we'll continue to watch that region pretty closely. All right, let's see what else we got. 4.2 into the very extreme edge of the Aleutian Trench, 4.3. So a lot of activity occurring here worldwide, I would say, in the last few days, folks. Let's take a look here real quick at the, well, bring this up here real quick. We're going to search up the earthquake catalog. We're going to do just a view here of 6.0 and above since about the first here of this year. And I'm just kind of curious to see what has taken place, right? Definitely been quite a bit of activity here recently. See if I can pull this up. We'll check out the world view here. This is going to be the custom. This is going to be 6.0 and above. Let me go back here. So here we go here. The oldest is going to be up here on the globe, on the map. Largest magnitude, obviously we've seen quite a bit of activity back in February, right? You guys remember this earthquake back in Turkey? This is a large-scale event that was all along a good section of this plate boundary. This was not just in one area. This took place across this entire region. Very unique activity here across this area with multiple 7s and 6s, creating a lot of damage out there around Turkey. We didn't really see any further activity along the eastern segment here of this plate boundary, but I think in the future that may show some activity. As you can see, quite a bit of activity across the plate boundary. You guys can follow the plate boundary, right? This is where most of the earthquake activity takes place. And a lot of people ask me all the time, why is the most activity occurring here across the Western Pacific? Why is that? Well, the general plate GPS movement here shows where all the strain's taking place here. Look at the Pacific plate. All these arrows pointing towards the western edge here of the Pacific plate. Look at the Eurasia plate. This thing's getting shoved and pushed towards the southeast. Look at the arrows. So this is one, and look at the Australia plate. All these arrows, you can pretty much draw a line here, or at least a circle, across this region where the most earthquake activity takes place in the world. It's backed up by numerous major plates, and that will continue throughout not only my lifetime, but probably my grandkids and in the future. So that's why there's so much earthquake activity taking place out here. But we can't help but look at certain areas down here that have not seen any earthquake activity above the 6.0 threshold. We're talking about New Zealand. Look at that. It sits along a major plate boundary, but there's nothing. So that's one of our seismically hazardous zones here that pose some hazards here very soon. I think New Zealand's in that mark. Also, the Kuril Kamchatka has not seen any mega quake activity out here. That is backed up by a bunch of plates here. You got the Pacific plate shoving up here across this plate boundary. That's the North American in the brown here, and the Pacific plate boundary in the yellow. That's backed up by the Eurasia plate. This area is a huge area of subduction zone and accumulated slip rate. And, you know, what have we seen? 6.1, a whoop-de-doo. This area is very capable of producing some large mega quakes out there. And, of course, California is another one. I didn't mean to do that and drop my mouse here. I'll bring this up here real quick. Did we actually lose that whole window? How did I close that whole window? Just by dropping my mouse. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. I just dropped the mouse off the mouse pad here, and I lost it. All right, are we still live? Let's double check, make sure we are. It looks like we are. So yeah, I showed you guys the historical data out there. Watch the New Zealand area, Kuril Kamchatka Trench. Obviously, California is up on the map as well for some large damaging earthquakes. Space weather activity coming off of a radio blackout, or at least a data blackout here from the eclipse of the moon, or eclipse of the sun, I should say, from the moon getting in the way of this solar X-ray detection activity. Looks like we got a little bit of C flare activity stirring up here. Nothing major. We do have basically we have many sunspots out here, many sunspots. But whether they're capable of producing some major flares or not, that remains questionable. These do not look dynamically set up here. Maybe this region right here for some stronger flaring, but for the most part, the majority of these are out of tune in terms of magnetic structure complexity. Right now, 99% chance of a C flare, M flare 55, X flare around looks like 10% chance. We did see some elevated G2 storming conditions earlier from an unexpected CME. I'm not for sure where that came from, but we did get some heightened auroras kicking up there across the polar regions. All right, let's see what else we got. I can't believe that killed all of my windows there. Not even, how does that even happen? It must have landed perfectly to click X on all of the windows. I don't get it. Very weird. I've been having some strange paranormal stuff here recently. Last night, you know, I think if you watch some of my videos, I've talked about a what was that? It flew off at Missy Mimi's here a month or so ago. I can't quite remember, but last night there was a cookie dough. Cookie dough. Kids like to eat cookie dough, right? I love it myself. I eat it. In fact, I stole it out of the fridge and I ate what they didn't eat. And I set it here. I set it next to my bed as I was eating it. And for whatever reason, about 4 o'clock in the morning, that thing fell down on the floor and woke me up. It sounded, it sounded like a plastic bottle. Obviously, I know what a plastic bottle sounds like as it's hitting the floor. And it woke me wide awake. And this is just one of many things that has been happening to me. And Missy Mimi's, oh goodness. She can tell you another story. Many stories out there. She's been very attracted to the paranormal. And I think maybe, I just lost my mouse again. But I think maybe she's contributing to some of the activity out here that I've been experiencing, because I've experienced a lot more paranormal activity since she moved in than I've ever experienced in my life. So she's definitely very sensitive to that type of stuff. And I think that she may be Maybe bring in some folks along with her. I don't know who. But yeah, the cookie dough plastic container woke me up last night. I have no clue how it fell off the dresser. You know, one might think it's fan, wind, but yeah, I just don't think so. It's a little weird, very weird. We get a lot of stuff going on here recently. All right, Hurricane Lee. What's going on there, Lee? What are you guys talking about? What do we got? Anything? We got anything major going on far as the potential threat to the land? I don't think so. Right now, we are in a very important stage here of this hurricane heading due north, past Bermuda, west of Bermuda. Currently, this hurricane sits at a 115 mile per hour sustained winds, which is Category 3, a very strong major hurricane, but it is expected to weaken here and be tropical storm level as it hits around the Nova Scotia area, maybe Maine as well. But it's going to be much weaker by the time it gets up there. Currently, any warnings going on? Looks like there's a little bit of warning activity here across the Bermuda region. Looks like they are underneath a tropical storm warning, but right now this is positioned out to the Atlantic where it should be. No threat at all across the eastern portion of the country. We'll watch this as it gets closer to the main area in the Nova Scotia region, but it is expected to drop off significantly to a tropical storm. Let me check out the tropical tidbits here. The latest, I lost all of my windows. Look at that. My 100 windows I had up here have been gone in a click. My mouse falls off of the area here, and it kills all my windows. I'm a little bit depressed about that. Here's the latest satellite imagery of Hurricane Lee. Notice it does have a significant eye out there. Beautiful, well-defined tropical system, 946 MB. Pretty significant hurricane, but that is expected to pass to the north here very soon. Let me see what we got here for our regions. Let's just double check that here for the eastern United States. There's Hurricane Lee down there, right? Beautiful. Absolutely stunning. I'm a big fan of weather. I don't like the damage that it does, but I am a big fan of how it develops and how significant these storms can be. So Hurricane Lee expected potentially to make its way up around Maine, Nova Scotia area around the 16th of September. That's coming up here in just about 4 days. So just a heads up. Behind that, there is another hurricane, but it looks like it's going to extend further to the Atlantic area. Let me pull up the numerical models here for the forecast. All right, there's the hurricane out here. Colder temperature, low pressure is in the blue, and down here the hurricane, tropical in the blue as well. High pressure will be in the orange. That means hot and dry. We are expected here across the Pacific Northwest to increase temperatures. I think it's going to hit 100. I don't like it, but I think it's going to hit 100 here pretty soon, in a couple days. We're talking about Wednesday or Thursday. I'm not a big fan of that. I really wish it would go away, but we are living in California, at least me anyway, and September can be pretty darn hot. But behind that, there's some cooler air troughing, dipping down here into the west coast, and that will provide some relief from the heat. And another one coming up there towards the end of September. So that's promising. That's very promising, as multiple weather models are looking at the possibility of cooler weather out here in California. I'm okay with that. The rest of the country, I'm not really concerned about because I'm not out there. I'm sorry, guys. I really am. But here along the West Coast, I'm done with the hundreds. We hit 100 and... Oh, what did we hit? What did we hit this year? I think we hit 117, 118 or so. That's the actual ear temperature. That's not feels like. That's not the dew point. 117 is the actual temperature that we hit here earlier in the summertime. And that's, you know, I don't like it. I want to live somewhere where 100 degrees is, wow, 100 degrees, that's record breaking. But 117, that didn't even break a record out here across Chico. So I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Send me somewhere where it gets cold. All right, what else we got here, guys? I don't want to complain too much out here, but hey. All right, nothing going on across the tsunami advisory watch. I don't think we got anything major going on as far as the buoys go out here, National Buoy Center. You know, a lot of people tend to fearmonger that as well. I don't know what's going on with this. A little slow out here right now. All right, there we go. Buoys, of course, what we got up here? Something kicking off the coast. Very small adjustment, looks like. Sometimes, I don't know what it is. It could be a rogue wave. Or maybe a seagull. Who knows what. Something messing with the buoys out here. But for the most part, nothing else going on, as far as I can see. Really, I'm really surprised nothing's going on here across the Atlantic, as far as this hurricane stirring off out here. All right, folks, I am going to jump off here. By the way, we are coming up on the member drawing. Okay, don't forget, this is a member drawing only. This is not for the subscriber, you know, general subscribers. This is for the member only. Stand by here for a second. I'm going to do something real quick. This might be kind of a lengthy video, but hey, you know what? It's all good. Stand by here for just a second. I'm going to pull up the members here. I need to give a quick shout out to everyone here that is a member on the channel. It's been a little while since I've done that. So we do want to recognize our members out here, as they are a big part of this channel. And let's go ahead and bring it up right now. There we go. So our newest member is Dylan Lockwood. Thank you very much. 5 days as a member. You're obviously automatically entered into our monthly drawing. We'll be giving away a $50 Visa or MasterCard gift card of your choice. Or if you want it's like an 11-piece geology mining kit. And you get the choice of all that. So we'll go over the details if you are the winner. Laura Bonnet, 9 months. Thank you for rejoining here about 6 days ago. KT, 8 days, a very new member. Thank you very much for being a new member. By the way, we got about 65. It's been holding pretty steady here as far as the members go. At about 60 or so members. Sue Ellen for 2 months. Thank you very much for joining about 10 days ago. Rejoining. Robert H, 11 days, new member. Love and Blessings, 2 months. Philip Mint, looks like about 3 months or so. Laura Court, thank you very much. A new member within about last 30 days, 24 days to be exact. Michelle Farmer, super fan. Been a long time member. Rejoined about 25 days ago. We appreciate you rejoining. Bob, 25 days, a new member. 2 months here. Looks like John Jerome. Danielle as well, 2 months. Dan Hunter for 1 month. Unimportant Entertainment, 5 months. Rejoined about 26 days ago. Debbie Ray, Jeannie Baker, Angela Willock, 1 month. Kathleen, of course, longtime member here as well. Thank you for rejoining a month ago. 5 months total. Jen Teal, 1 month. Bitter Harvest, 1 month. George Harden, 1 month. Harlita Javika, thank you very much there. Of course, we appreciate Harlita big time. Not even joking. Rejoined there 1 month ago. Total of 4 months. MST Pair, 1 month. 8 months. Kathy Doan rejoined about 1 month ago. We appreciate you rejoining. Sometimes, you forget about the channels there. Maybe the subscription expired, but we do appreciate you guys jumping back in here. It does accumulate your time frame out here for total time on the level. Genevieve Freeland, 2 months. Ruthie Mays, 5 months. Thank you very much. Time of Truth. That's a good time, right? 2 months. Maria Park, very long time member right here. 14 months, over a year now. One of our long-term members out here rejoined 2 months ago. Thank you, Maria Park, for rejoining this channel. Timothy, our moderator out here, 9 months total, rejoined 2 months ago. Big time help here to this channel. We appreciate you, Timothy. 100%. Me and Miss Mimi's do. Sacktown Amy, what's up, Sacktown Amy? 2 months. Amanda Little, 4 months ago, or 4 months total. Rebecca Biggs, we're looking at about 3 months. 3 months for the Dot Hacker. Elizabeth Warman, 5 months. 15 a month. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're getting into the big time members here. Rob 52 rejoined 3 months ago. Rob, thank you. Albert Sanchez Jr. Not showing the Jr. on here, but Albert, I know this guy. Albert Sanchez Jr., a good guy. 15 months, rejoined 3 months ago. Thank you very much, Albert, for rejoining this channel. Jay Fuentes, 347, 15 months. Some of these guys, look at that. 15 months. Oh my gosh, thank you guys for rejoining this channel. Nana, channel supporter, 4 months. Channel supporter is an upgrade from the super fan, so we appreciate you guys, Nana, for helping out this channel. Also, Lilu, channel supporter, 5 months now. Linda Eaton, 6 months. Alan Gressick, 5 months. Matthew Dittman. Lucy Maker, Purple Bullet, on the other side of the world. Purple Bullet, we appreciate you, and we definitely recognize you out there. Rejoined about 7 months ago. Thank you very much, Purple Bullet, for rejoining. Craig England, 8 months. I'm not for sure how to pronounce that. Now I keep saying it every single update. But hey, that focuses on you right there. 7 months. Helen Horn, 8 months. Alicia Stanford, 13 months. Clayton, what's going on? 11 months. Hurricane Heather, we appreciate you 100%. 11 months. Goodness. Woo! We're getting into a lengthy video just off of mentioning our members. Janice Seiler, 10 months. Juno James, 11 months. Mike Moses. Mike, we appreciate you 100% there. Being a steady fan. Joycelyn Burzik, 11 months. Catherine Pours Peace. I know that because I've seen your name quite a few times there, Catherine. We appreciate you. And also one of our members that have won here recently. 12 months. Judy Menzel, 12 months. Betty Kelly, 13 months. Nancy Kozlowski, 13 months. John Didier, 15 months. Are you serious? Is John our longest term member? I'm going to have to check that out. John Didier, 15 months. Debash Mode, one of our winners as well. Thank you very much there. Debash Mode, 13 months. Joel Kozlowski, Pamela Conley, Ray Addington, Hope and Feathers, and Robert Kozlowski. Some of these folks here are 15 months. Oh my goodness. I don't know how to sort this up here. Is that right? Let's see if this... I don't know if that's going to help out or not. I don't think so. Total time on level, total time as member. 15 months here. So it... Oh my gosh. Jay Fuentes. Look who's up on the top of the chart. That's you. Jay Fuentes 347, the longest here, at least according to what YouTube here is stating. I know Albert Sanchez, Rob, John, Robert, Hope and Feathers, Ray Addington, Pamela, Maria Park, and a couple others have been around here for a long time. So, but Jay Fuentes, you're up on the chart. I don't know what I'm going to give you, but maybe we'll have to figure out something here. I want to do more going into 2024 as far as giving away prizes. We got a lot going on with the 100,000 subscriber giveaway. That's kind of a big deal, folks. We're going to be giving away some big time prizes there, and that's a little bit of money stacking up. But we appreciate everyone that's a part of this channel for making us, reach that 100,000 subscriber mark. It's a big deal. So I want to obviously appreciate people out there. I'm not one to just say, hey, buy our merch. Now that we hit 100,000 subscribers, guess what? Buy our merch. No, I want to give away prizes to people. So that's why our 100,000 subscriber giveaway is a big deal. I want to make it a big deal. And we got well over, I think, 330 entries, and I'd like to see that increase. We got 100,000 subscribers out here on this channel, and we got 330 dedicated entries out here. But, a lot of people not interested in winning prizes. They just want updated information, and that's okay. That's just a better benefit for those that have entered. 330 versus 100,000 entries. Yeah, I would say the odds are much greater in your favor. So I couldn't even imagine writing out 100,000 entries into a fishbowl. I would probably need about 10 of them. So we're working on that. Again, watch the 100,000 subscriber giveaway. It is up on the channel, and I think I'll add it at the end of this video just so you guys can watch it and give everyone a chance to enter into the drawing. It's a big deal. To me, it's a big deal. We did it at 50,000, and I can't remember if we did it at 75,000 or not, but we give these little milestones here a little extra perk and give away prizes. I mean, I think that's cool. I don't know of too many channels that give away prizes when they reach a certain milestone. I don't even know if anybody says thank you anymore, but we thank you here. Missy Mimi's and me, we thank you very much for making us at 100,000 subscribers. We're well over that right now. And, it's pretty important. It's a big deal. To me, it's a big milestone, and I'd like to show my appreciation by giving away prizes. Why not? Who wouldn't want to? I mean, maybe a greedy person, but I'm not greedy. I want to give back to the people that give to me. All right, folks, I am going to jump off here. Please have a good night. Let me check out the latest seismograph stations here. Everything looks pretty calm and clear for now. Not a whole lot of activity across the globe in terms of seismic activity. Watch the regions, as I mentioned here. Certain areas before my mouse fell down and just kind of closed out 20 windows up here. New Zealand, right? That's an area to watch pretty closely. Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, and of course California been lighting up slightly. We'll catch you guys back here tomorrow sometime. Have yourself a beautiful Tuesday night. Take care. Have a good one.